Continue to do well. I hope that you are safe, and I hope that you continue to grow in your relationship with the Lord. Today, we're going to finish the first week of our 2021 references. So I would encourage you to find 1 Samuel chapter 20, verse 21. All right, as you find that, I'm going to set this up. Remember the two contexts that we want to do when we do this type of study. This is a fun study, but it also can be a dangerous study in that we don't understand what's going on because we're jumping into one verse and we're jumping out. So we need to study the big context, the who, what, where, when, why of the book. This morning, that's going to be 1 Samuel. Then we need to study the immediate context, the 2020 verses before, the 20 verses after, to give us 2020 vision. You can find these two contexts by using a study Bible, a commentary, or something online. But again, I'm going to continue to remind you and caution you, do not always use every online commentary there is. There's great ones out there, and there are bad ones out there. If you need help, please let me know. Okay? As we finish the first week of 2021, what a crazy week that we have had, a week that we will never forget. Perhaps you step back today and you look to evaluate the last week and you look ahead to the next 51 weeks and you don't know what to do and you're searching for answers. You're looking for solutions. Well, you've come to the right place. You've come because not because I'm here, friends, because I have the same questions. I have more questions, different questions than you and with you. But we have come to God's Word, and that is going to be our anchor. In good times and in bad times, we're going to seek God's Word and God's wisdom for our decisions. So here we go. As you turn to 1 Samuel chapter 20, verse 21, I want you to think of your best friend. Who is your best friend? Why are they your best friend? Are they your best friend because of the history you had? Because they've been there since kindergarten? Because you went through interesting times with them? Perhaps they're your best friend because you vowed to them to be their best friend, and I'm speaking of your spouse. When was the last time you thanked your best friend for being there and for the good times that you have had and for the good times you're anticipating in 2021? So let's go ahead and read 1 Samuel chapter 20, verse 21. It's all about friendship today. It's all about relationships today with our earthly friends. All right. So 1 Samuel chapter 20, verse 21 says this, and there I will send a lad, saying, go, find the arrows. If I expressly say to the lad, look, the arrows are on this side of you, go get them and come. Then, as the Lord lives, there is safety for you and no harm. What is going on in this passage? Well, we're going to get there, so hang with me. Let's go to the big context. We're in the book of 1 Samuel. The purpose of 1 Samuel is to remind and record how Israel got their first king. This is to chart the lives of three specific people. Samuel is the prophet. He is the man that is the mouthpiece of God. We're going to study, if you would read through 1 Samuel, you're going to learn about the life of Saul, King Saul, the first king of Israel. And then we're also going to study and learn about David, King David. He's the second king of Israel, and he is known as a man after God's own heart. This is David of King David we read about in the prophecies of Christ's birth. This is King David, the guy that killed Goliath, and that David. So that's what First Samuel is all about. Now, what's the immediate context? What's going on? Well, we have to go the whole way back to chapter 20, verse 1 to understand what's going on. So let's go ahead, cover this. And isn't it interesting and, if you will, fun that if we're reading with 2020 vision, it takes us back the whole way to 1 Samuel chapter 20, verse 1. There's a guy, Saul has a son, his name is Jonathan. Jonathan and David are best friends. They're bosom buddies. They are very, very close. And Jonathan is trying to help David. Why? David is running from King Saul because King Saul has lost the kingdom. And Saul is jealous of David because the kingdom has been taken from Saul and has been given to David. And Saul has done many things to disobey God, and God has said, Saul, enough is enough. You're losing the kingdom because you are not a man after my own heart. I want to find a man after my own heart. I'm going to give it to David. So Saul is trying to kill David in order to get the kingdom back. David is known as a man after God's own heart, 1 Samuel chapter 16. David is on the run. He's trying to outrun Saul. And so David is very fearful. But he also has Jonathan, Saul's son, to help him to escape. But now David is worried that Saul is tracking him through Jonathan. And Jonathan is still very loyal to David, but David is just not sure he can trust Jonathan. And so there's a possible break in the relationship. And in verses, I think it's like 8 through 10, 8 through 15, I didn't write that down. David and Jonathan are having this very tough talk. And Jonathan is saying, David, I am staying loyal to you. I continue to be devoted to you. You are my closest friend. I pledge my loyalty to you. Jonathan takes it as far and pledges the same death to himself if Jonathan betrays David. And interesting here, side note, Jonathan is treating David the way he wants to be treated, Matthew chapter 7. So the verse that we are focusing on is Jonathan's way of communicating with David, because Jonathan doesn't really come to the fact and believe or even realize that Saul is so angry that he wants to kill David. So Jonathan says, David, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to sit with dinner with my father. And if he is angry and wants to kill you, I'm going to do one thing. And if he's not angry with you and it's safe for you to come, I'm going to do another thing. And so that's where the 2021 reference comes in. The verse we focused on is the way that Jonathan's communicating with David. It's the secret code that they have worked out beforehand. So what's the rest of the story really quick? The rest of the story is that Saul is so angry with David that David's not at the dinner table, that he is full of rage, and Saul picks up the spear and tries to kill Jonathan, his own son, with a spear. So Jonathan realizes, my father, King Saul, is really trying to kill David. I need to warn David and have him run away and flee for his own safety. So Jonathan goes out, shoots the arrows, tells the guy that's going to go get him, you go and do this. And David hears. And that's David's cue to realize, not safe for me, I need to run away. That's what's going on in 1 Samuel chapter 20, especially verse 21. How does this apply to today? God made us for relationships. I could do a study in Genesis chapter 1 and 2, the perfectness of creation, and God looks, I will create for him a helper. You see, God made us for relationships. We all need a friend. In difficult times, we need someone to turn to. And sometimes in those difficult times, we can turn or begin to mistrust those that we should trust the most here on earth. For David and Jonathan, they had each other. The challenge for you, the challenge for me in today's devotional is, why not try to strengthen a relationship that you have here on earth so you can continue to grow a friendship like Jonathan and David had. They had history, they had experience, they had events, they had trust that was continuing to build, and they had a division that could not get in there. They pledged loyalty to each other. In 2021, there's a lot of commotion going on. There's a lot of division going on. Why not find your best friend and reaffirm to them, you are going to be with me and I am going to be with you, because we need each other to be there for one another. Wouldn't it be fun for you to say to your best friend, you're my Jonathan and I'm David, or you're my David and I'm Jonathan? Don't allow division to come between you and your best friend. Work with all you have to keep that relationship strong and growing through 2021. And I trust that both you and your best friend will continue to grow in your relationship with the Lord. Wow, what an interesting story in 1 Samuel chapter 20, verse 21. Didn't know it was coming today, but what great application we have to find a friend. Hey, if you don't have a church to go to and you want to come to physical, in-person church, we have two services this week, 9 o'clock and 10:30. We're going to be in Matthew chapter 7. If you don't have a church and you aren't quite ready to come, then I'd encourage you to join us digitally on our church Facebook page. Somewhere around 9:30, we're going to start streaming the service. And if you do have a church that knows Jesus, believes in Jesus, and preaches in Jesus, I trust you'll have a great time of worship with that local church and you continue to grow in your relationship with the Lord. Hey, I'll see you either Sunday morning in person, Sunday morning digitally, or I'll see you Monday morning for the next reference of 2021. Well, I think we're going to be in the New Testament. You have a great weekend. I'll see you soon. Stay safe.